Alrighty, welcome back to my channel. Now we're going to start a new chapter today, and this is going to be on the study of Revelation 101. So we're going to start a Bible study or study on the book of Revelations. Now I'm going to start off with Matthew, Luke, and Mark. We're going to go start off by what did Jesus say about the end times, the end of the age? So we'll start off with his words. Now, before I get started, I like to do a kind of an opening monologue. Okay, now, if you're going to follow me in this study, I do ask you one thing. I would like for you to clear your mind of all the stuff that you've been exposed to. Now, like a lot of the movies we get into uh, some of the old movies from the 70s and the Left Behind series, and they're not really based on biblical principles. It's a rough scratching of the subject and not really all that biblical. It's a movie to pull on your heartstrings, maybe get a reaction from you. We know all the old movies from the 70s was trying to scare you into salvation. And where I want to head with this is I want you to be biblically based on your belief of eschatology or the study of the end times. And what we will find where a lot of people get in trouble trying to understand the book of Revelation is if you read it right off the bat, a lot of it don't make sense, and a lot of answers are going to be found in the Old Testament. We're going to spend some time in the Old Testament after we see what Jesus had to say about the end times in the three books. A lot of the Bible, a quarter of it is basically prophecy, and a lot of stuff that deals with Revelation is in the Old Testament. Believe it or not. Now the thing is, do not ever listen to any preacher, minister, Bible study leader, nobody. The church did not replace the nation of Israel. And what you will find is that the book of Revelation is based about Israel. This is what it takes for the nation of Israel to accept Jesus as their Messiah. Now, that will make sense later on in the study. You'll find out as we read, because a lot of times we don't really get into the two witnesses, the 144,000 Jehovah Witnesses. They're not the ones coming on your door knocking. They are 12,000 chastened virgins from the 12 tribes of Israel. And the one tribe that is not there, we'll study, we'll see, is the tribe of Dan. They were replaced. And that was a foreshadowing of the 13 disciples, because after Judas committed suicide, killed himself, he was replaced with another disciple. It's not really widely discussed. There are 13 tribes of Israel, one because Dan was wiped out, replaced. Judas was wiped out as the apostles, and he was replaced with another. So a lot of the Old Testament is a foreshadowing of the New Testament. And we're going to see a lot of that. And when we get into this, by the time we get into the book of Revelation, it ain't going to be that hard. Just like the last four books of the Old Testament, the books we never ever read. Nobody ever reads those books, very few. But there's so much of Revelation that's in those four books. They're short, and there's a lot, and we'll cover that. Normally, what I do in my studies, we will go and we will do Revelation, then come back and I will show you the last four books of the Old Testament. But for time's sake, and I just want to change up a little bit and do that before we get into the book of Revelation. Okay. So All I ask is you clear your mind, put aside pre-trib, mid-trib, and post-trib. We don't have time for arguments here. What I'd like for you to do is put those beliefs to the side for now. Now, if you believe that way coming in and you believe that way going out, God bless you. This is not set up to cause an argument or anything else, because eschatology, study of the latter days, or we say the end times, is about God is forewarning us and foretelling us of future events. This is not to replace the Great Commission. Our calling today is the Great Commission. The Lord has told us in the future some of these events are going to take place for us to be prepared for it, knowing they coming. You ain't praying them away. Sorry, ain't going to happen. We are foretold that these things have to pass for the kingdom of God, for Jesus' millennial reign to come in and take place. And a lot of it deals with the nation of Israel. Yes, we're part of it, but the church did not replace the nation of Israel. And don't let anybody tell you any different, because what kicks off Revelation, the tribulation, all right, is a 7-year peace treaty with Israel. That's what kicks it off. Okay, this is just a pre-warming up, getting into this. If you're looking for a quick fix and a short course, I'm not for you. I'm going to be honest. I want to be thorough. I want you to understand and be biblically based on your study of Revelation, that you understand tribulation. And actually, my main focus in the book of Revelation is not tribulation. My focus as a Christian is the 7 letters to the churches, the millennial reign, and what heaven looks like. You get to see in this study, it's not all gloom and doom. We get to see what New Jerusalem and a new earth is going to be. It's described how beautiful it is. That is our heavenly hope. So when we get done with this study, my focus isn't the 7 years of tribulation. Mine is I get to actually have a mind's eye view of how beautiful heaven is, of my heavenly home. That's my blessed hope. That's where I'm going when I die and I have to go before the judgment seat of Christ. But I'll receive my rewards if I get any, and then I will spend eternity. At least I know where I'm going. And this is something we don't really discuss: is what is our heavenly home? This isn't all doom and gloom that we study this. At least not with me. Yes, we're going to study the hard part of it, but we're going to see the good part too. So I'm one of those guys. It's not all gloom and doom. I want you to know what you have to look forward to. So let's get started. We officially begin the study of Revelation, and we're going to start with Matthew, and then we're going to do Mark and Luke. Okay, so let's get started. We officially start now. Okay, the book of Matthew, we're going to be doing chapter 24. Excuse me. Oh, and I want you to be relaxed. Get you a cup of Joe, get you a soda, get you a glass of tea, and just sit back and relax, and just let's go through some scriptures. This is just how we're going to start. Okay, so let's get started. And Jesus went out and departed from the temple, and his disciples came to him for to shew him the building of the temple. And Jesus said unto them, See ye not all these things? Verily I say unto you, there shall not be here one stone upon another that shall not be thrown down. We've seen the temple was destroyed in 70 AD. And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be, and what shall be the sign of thy coming and the end of the world? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you, for many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, shall deceive many. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of war. See that ye not be troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. Like I say, you can't pray this stuff, but it may terrify you. But this is where your blessed hope in your salvation and your patience and everything comes into play. Don't be afraid. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of war. See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom, and there shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in different or divert places. All these are the beginning of sorrows. So we see that these events have to take place. Now, the thing is, the first 3.5 years, Antichrist signs the peace treaty with the Antichrist, and that kicks everything off. The first four seals are broken in the first 3.5 years. We're going to see war, pestilence, sickness. This is when the Antichrist is going worldwide to conquer. That'd be through peace. It's the 3.5 year mark that it kicks off the Great Tribulation. Now, what happens during this time period, the key event that takes place is that 2 billion people are going to die during this time period. We ain't even got to the Great Tribulation, the 3.5 year point. 2 billion people will die from diseases, wars, all kind of natural disasters. You're going to see many different pestilences take place, and this will happen. So I'm just telling you right off the bat, we ain't even got to the Great Tribulation. We talk about those dying for for Christ. We haven't got to that part yet. Okay, they then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and hate one another. We see this already taking place, and many brothers and sisters in Christ are dying every night. And many false prophets shall rise and shall deceive many. We're seeing that constantly. And because iniquity shall bound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come. See, we're already seeing that. If you just look in today, people have so many problems and they're angry and they're bitter over anything and everything. It's just horrifying to see. Just going in the store and seeing people they're not happy. It's rare to see that old couple holding hands, laughing and joking and kidding, going in the park. That's rare. I remember in the days years ago it was a common everyday thing. But people are so angry and bitter, and it's just going to get worse. When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation spoken by Daniel the prophet, and stand in the holy place, whoso readeth, let him understand. Okay, this is the 3.5 year point. And what happens is that the third temple has already been rebuilt. They're having daily sacrifices. He comes in and stops it. He claims that he is God. He receives a fatal head wound. He's miraculously healed. This is when the Great Tribulation starts. This is when the false prophet comes into play. We see the 144,000. They come into play. The two witnesses show up. A lot of things take place. We also see here, then let them which is in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house, neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes. And woe unto them that are with child, and to them that give suck in those days. But pray ye that your flight be not in winter, neither on the Sabbath day. Now, this is when the Jews have to flee into the mountains. You can't go back for food. You can't go back and get your clothes. You can't go back and get any provisions or anything. At that moment, if you don't flee, you'll die. Okay. But this is the nation of Israel. Like I say, they are in the picture. Don't let anybody ever tell you the nation of Israel does not matter, that the Old Testament is relevant, and we replaced the nation of Israel. Don't listen to that stuff. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be. Okay. Except those days should be shortened. There should be no flesh be saved, but for the elect's sake, those days will be shortened. Then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or there, believe it not. For there shall rise false Christs and false prophets, and shall shew great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. You're going to see so many miracles and miraculous signs and wonders. You're going to see him call down fire from the sky. It's just going to be, for the average Joe, it's going to be so miraculous. They're really going to believe he's God, and they are going to worship him wholeheartedly. And woe to those who don't. But remember, it's going as until all this worship is canceled, you're going to see a lot of false Christ. We see them every day. Somebody's popping up claiming to be Christ, the Messiah, and don't go chasing after him. Jesus is not here now. He comes at a later time, and don't believe anybody that tells you any difference. Okay. Behold, I have told you before. Wherefore, if they shall say unto you, Behold, he is in the desert, go not forth. Behold, he is in a secret chamber, believe it not. For as lightning cometh out of the east and shineth even unto the west, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. For whatsoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered together. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the power of the heavens shall be shaken. Remember the words, immediately after the tribulation of those days. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Like I said, what does the Bible say? That's all I'm going to say on this part. Okay. And now learn a parable of the fig tree. When his branch is yet tender and pulleth forth leaves, he knows that summer is nigh. So likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the door. So likewise ye, when ye shall see all these things, know that it is near, even at the door. Verily I say unto you, this generation shall not pass till all these things be fulfilled. Heaven and earth shall pass away, but my word shall not pass away. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. Don't listen to anybody who gives you a time date. Nobody knows but Father God. He is the only one. He will kick this off when he wants it kicked off. No man, it says not even the angels know. So don't believe anybody that gives you a timeline. They don't know. For as the days of Noah were, so shall the coming of the Son of Man be. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking and marrying and giving in marriage until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. Then two shall be in the field, the one shall be taken and the other left. 2 women shall be grinding at the mill, the one shall be taken and the other left. Watch therefore, for ye know not what hour your Lord doth come. But know this, that if the goodman of the house had known in what watch the thief would come, what hour, he would have watched and would not have suffered his house being broken up. Therefore be ye ready, for in such an hour as you think not, the Son of Man cometh. Then in a faithful and wise servant, whom his Lord has made ruler over his household, to give them meat in due season. Blessed is that servant whom his Lord, when he cometh, shall find so doing. Verily I say unto you, that he shall make him ruler over all his goods. But if that evil servant shall say in his heart, my Lord delayeth his coming, his ain't sinners, and shall begin to smite his fellow servants, and to eat and drink with the drunken, the Lord of that servant shall come in a day when he looketh not for him, in an hour that he is not aware of, and shall cut him asunder, and appoint him his portion with the hypocrites. Now, this was a servant of God. Remember this. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Now, I'm going to cut this one a little short so I can fit in the other 2 chapters. So I'm going to do 2 today. This here, a lot of information the Lord put out. And some different things are going to be covered in the other 2 chapters. To me, this is a great starting point. What did Jesus say about the end of the age? So, a lot of information. I'm not going to cover too much into this with a commentary. This is something will make sense when we get done with this complete study. If you come back and read these 3 chapters, you'll be amazed. You'll be able to spot the tribulation and the great tribulation. A lot of this will make sense, and it will help you lead others. So I'm going to call this one quick. I'll see you in the next episode. Love you. Bye.